Good day, English winners. Today I'm going to introduce to you a new pronunciation sound in the English language, the schwa. So what is the schwa? Well, it has this weird symbol in pronunciation that looks like an upside down E, but it's actually the easiest sound to say, but until you learn about it, it's also the hardest to hear. And that sound is It could be written as UH or as just an A. So because knowing the sound and hearing it in everyday conversation is so important for your fluency, I'm putting this video in the pronunciation and the listening playlists, so you have a double exposure to this idea. Now, some people have an easier time with the schwa than others. Dutch, Romanian, Armenian, Hindi, Indonesian, they all have a pretty easy time with the sound. But some people have a little bit more trouble. I've noticed that the Spanish speakers, they'll sometimes say instead of and also the East Asian speakers, they'll go instead of So particularly people from Korea or Japan. So it's important to learn the and it's very simple. All you need to do is say is to make sure your tongue is on the bottom part of your mouth, not touching your teeth, just resting comfortably right in the middle, and then just kind of push with your stomach and just say and just practice that sound over and over until you get it. Remember where your tongue is, okay? Bottom of your mouth, right in the center, not touching your teeth or the front of your mouth. So pretty easy, right? Once you get that sound, it will help you a lot in your English speaking ability. So repeat after me. Again, again, again. So the word again, that first sound, is the schwa sound. Now, why is the schwa more difficult to hear? The simple answer is we don't stay on it for a very long time. The syllables and words around the schwa get more stress. Let's look at that word again. Notice how the stress goes again. I don't stay on the very much. Sometimes people might just quickly say "gin," and people will hear again if they're very fluent at English. Let me give you an example of how people use frequently. Let me think. Public speaking. Many people who speak in front of others for a living will measure their success and fluency as a public speaker by how many times they say the word And the word is used as a placeholder sometimes in everyday conversation when we don't know what to say next, or we know the idea of what we're going to say next, but we don't know how we're going to say it. So, like that. People use it like that. I notice East Asians will do or o, and Spanish speakers, especially in Argentina, I heard all the time. They'd go yo no sé, and stuff like that. So the American version of that is Here is an example of Barack Obama. Very good speaker, but he does it all the time in interviews. Check this out.
In addition to John, sorry, I just noticed that I jumped the gun here. Go ahead and move it up. I had already introduced all you guys.
Placeholder sounds aside, the schwa sound is used for many words as well. And I'm going to throw some up on the board behind me so we can practice together. You see these words up here? We're going to go over them one by one, so that way you can practice your schwa sound. Are you ready? Let's go. Again. The. Allow. About. One. Umpire. Now, umpire is a little different. The umpire sound, the sound gets the stress. Umpire instead of umpire. Umpire. Okay? So try that one more time. Umpire. Let's keep going. Amazing. but, truck, regular, ombudsman. That one has two schwa sounds, ombudsman. Now, why does the word man have the sound in there? I'll go into that a little bit further in this video. Until then, practice these a couple times, and then we'll go to sentences. Sentence time. I believe we should try again. Drive the truck on the driveway. The ombudsman has questions about our office spending policies. The umpire called a strike on that last pitch. Amazing work, everyone. So don't be surprised to see the schwa sound being used in places you do not expect. In the eastern United States, particularly the Bostonian accent or New England accent, uses the schwa sound in place of er, or or. Instead of informer, you might hear informa. And instead of, or sounds like tractor, you'll hear tracta. Instead of words like factor, you'll hear facta. So that's a little bit of a difference. You'll also see that, I don't recommend this show, but the TV show Family Guy is a great example of that. The main character, Peter Griffin, and his wife, Lois Griffin, they always use that Bostonian accent. So if you ever watched clips or episodes from that show and were a little bit confused as to why they're speaking that way, now you understand. It's a Bostonian accent, and the schwa sound is used all the time in the Bostonian accent. Here's another thing you'll hear all the time with English speakers. The word man, if it's used at the end of a word, like policeman, it's not going to be policeman. People are going to say policeman. So you hear the man, the that schwa sound is in there somewhere. Here's some other examples. You have ombudsman, woman, policeman, fireman, and so all those words have the schwa sound, man, instead of man. If you say man, it'll sound a little awkward. Now, the schwa is also used in something called weak forms, which is where two words or syllables kind of get jammed together. In the case of two or more words, it sounds like those two or more words are being pronounced like one word. So have to would become hafta. I already made a video that talks about this a little bit, but I didn't call it weak forms. I'll post a link to that video in the description. Until then, I will also make another video on weak forms in the future, but I wanted to make sure you understood the schwa sound before I made that video, okay? So that's it for our schwa sound. Check out my pronunciation playlist right over there, and then I also have a link to another video here that I think will be helpful for you. If you like this video, please hit that subscribe button. And is there any accent that confuses you? Have you heard anything in the English language that you don't understand with pronunciation? Tell me in the comments below. Until then, I'll see you later, English winners. Bye now.